Now, I'd like to get to the current era of graffiti. What are your thoughts on today's culture?
Today's culture is just way different than what I grew up with. So I don't judge it like that because you can't. It's a new era. I can't say, oh, the graffiti now sucks or it's better or worse or whatever. It's just different. Graffiti is, one thing with graffiti is it's always about evolution, right? It never sits still. It's like one day someone invents a marker and then that marker becomes a product and then that product leads to another product and then, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, we see the kids doing crazy things right now. They, hanging, they're like hanging from the sides of buildings on, what do they call it, with the rappelling and all that kind of stuff. We may have thought about it back then, but no one did it, It's just the level, it's the nature of graffiti. It's like, it's a challenge, right? So someone makes it to this bar, someone's got to go over it, So that's the nature of graffiti. So in that aspect, I love it because people are pushing it and pushing it. It's never going to be like the way it was when I was growing up. And also, you got like 10 times as many people doing it now. So, there's all that. So I give it up for the people who are doing stuff now and being creative and doing new stuff and keeping it interesting. That's what I like.
Do you keep up with the current graffiti writers? Are there any that catch your eye when you're driving around town?
Man, I keep up with it in the sense that I see it around and I see what's going on, but I don't have like the everyday oh, this is the guy who's killing it right now or this other dude. I mean, there's definitely people that stand out, like Salteezy, right? You got Salt, doing this crazy things on billboards and all that. You got just so many writers who are just pushing the envelope. Like Katsu doing stuff with drones and stuff. It's crazy. I don't know how important that is to the whole scene, but to me it's interesting. So I like it. I dig it.
You've had a long career in graffiti. Can you name some of the female artists that have caught your eye throughout the years? Have any of them caught your eye?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because LA, especially back then, LA is such a tough city. And if you want to be out in the streets, writing, it's really tough. And if you're a woman, it's even tougher. So back then, I remember there was Omega was a dope writer from UTI back then. Then there was in our circle, we had artists like Diva, who was doing stuff. There was artists like Pedal's been doing stuff for a long time. Blossom been doing stuff for a long time. Homegirl Jade was doing stuff for a while. So there was always, then there was, Tribe, controversial, but, then she became DJ Lady Tribe, but, she was bombing. She was bombing for a minute. But yeah, there's a lot of artists, I guess now who maybe I don't know about, but, female artists it's a tough thing, especially when you're bombing, there was also Chalk, so there's been different female writers that I give props to.
Man One, thank you for joining us again. This has been an incredible historical interview. I'd like to ask you, how would you like to be remembered in graffiti?
Damn, I would like to be remembered as a fan first, I love graffiti. I love seeing it. I love interacting with it. Whatever I do or I contributed, if anything, that's fine. And maybe I did. I hope I did. But, really, I just want people to know, that in my career was about trying to elevate as many artists around me as possible because I love Graff, man. I love it.
Thank you. I always ask this question to all our guests. Can you please give us your top 5 greatest artists of all time or your Mount Rushmore of graffiti artists?
Man, that's such a hard question. Okay, so my Mount Rushmore, and this is just me, and I'm going to keep it local. I'm going to keep it about LA. I don't want to talk about New York because I'll never finish. And this is my personal opinion, but my number 1 and 2 all time is Sacred and Euler. That's my number 1 and 2 because Sacred, like I already mentioned, is just super dope. Euler set the bar for everybody in LA. And then the other 3, I had to give it to Hex and Slick because Hex was so dope with his characters and everything he did, and also foundation for a business and having the hip hop shop. So I learned from that too. Slick for just being the dope ass artist who's learned to have a long career, and just how smart he is with how he markets things. It's incredible, but always been a dope artist. And then I guess for my number 5, I'm gonna give it to Revoke. And that's just because he's put in so much work over the years. He's one of those relentless artists, I think, that just, I cannot believe his hustle. Like, I cannot believe, like, he's still bombing trains and doing it beautifully, which is like, and he's taking his art form to a whole other level. I mean, so I got to give it up to him. He's been doing it. Now, having said that, there's so many close number 6 and number 7 and number 8. So I won't even get into that, but there's so many people that are dope, but I'll keep it to that as my top 5.
Thank you for sharing your list. It's a great one. Now, what does the future hold for Man One C.O.I?
Oh man, so my future is, I'm gonna just keep doing art on the biggest scale that I could possibly do it. Just doing huge murals. I started a Man One Art Academy where I'm mentoring youth. So I pay them to help me out on murals and help me on my studio. So it's just about keep giving back to the communities, keep doing what I do, man. I just want to keep doing it on a larger scale, and hopefully, help out other up and coming artists and show them that if you're creative and you love what you do, you can make this into your career, make a living, and be happy.
Man One, thank you again. As we close the interview, would you like to give any shout outs?
Oh man, I'm gonna give a shout out first of all to my family, my wife, Laura, my kids, Alex, Max, and Viviana, because this whole thing, this whole journey about painting and all that has all been about being able to support them, So that's what I want to shout out, because I could be here for days shouting out all the artists that I know. Hopefully I shout out a few of them on this interview though.
Man One, thank you for joining us in this exclusive interview covering your incredible graffiti career. We wish you the best in your future endeavors, and we hope to have you back for an update in the near future. This has been our last interview of the year. Next up, stay tuned for our 2nd annual MVP Award Show coming up December 31st. We look forward to that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another episode of GRAFFTV. This has been the legendary Man One C.O.I crew.